Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, it's a by-election triggered by the killing of an MP in her own constituency. Out of respect to Labour's Jo Cox, the other main parties decided they would not contest Thursday's Batley by-election. But Labour will be opposed by 9 other candidates. Kieran Jenkins joins us live now from Westminster. Kieran.
Well, under normal circumstances, there would be huge focus on this by-election in Westminster and the media nationally. It would be Jeremy Corbyn's first election since being re-elected as Labour leader. Theresa May's first test in an election as Prime Minister. UKIP, whoever is leading UKIP these days, a test for them also. But this is not a normal circumstance. Nobody wanted this by-election after Jo Cox was killed on June 16th, a week before the referendum. And it's one of the first occasions in modern times, if not the first, that mainstream political parties have not contested a by-election. And into that void, into that space left behind, 9 other candidates have emerged from various fringe parties or standing as independents, many of whom have right or far-right leanings. And that poses certain difficulties in Batley, difficulties for those who perhaps didn't vote Labour last time, wondering who should have their vote this time, with Labour the only mainstream party standing. And difficulties also because some of the issues that are being debated and discussed do raise concerns with some, and some feel that it is causing tensions locally. And of course, this would have been a fascinating by-election, the first test post-referendum of some of those issues raised by the Brexit vote. But it's not going to be that. Instead, as we've been finding out in over a month in Batley, it's an opportunity for those on the fringes to have their voice heard. And in this report, you will hear some strong language.
Assalamu alaikum. It's Friday. Coronation Street actress and EastEnders as well. Tracy Brabin has been the new selected person to stand for the by-election.
You've got a question now. Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
I will be giving my full 101% backing to the Labour candidate. So I don't expect there to be. It'll be just 1 or 2.
There's actually about 9 parties, you know, British National Party.
National Front.
You can't account for how people will vote on the day.
Why should our students pay £9,000 a year?
Get their balloons up, that's fantastic.
Why should you have to pay prescription charges?
We will seek justice for all the victims of the grooming gangs in this part of Yorkshire.
They're all here.
What you're doing is clearly wrong. In a town that don't want you. I live here, they don't.
I feel sorry for the people who live here next to you.
You are racist stuff now, get out.
Coming from an anti-Semitic, we don't believe what you say anyway.
We're still upset about Jo. Well, that's where their office was.
Buckby stands for Liberty GP. Vote for Jack Buckby, Liberty GP.
I wish in a way the Conservatives were having a candidate, and then maybe we wouldn't have people like this jumping on bandwagon.
Jack Buckby stands for ending immigration, for tackling the grooming gangs in West Yorkshire, and for putting local people first.
All these people aren't worth a that's honest. They all say they're going to do something and they don't.
Here, look, just a few little things on here, these issues, right? Putting local people first, what do you think about that one?
Yes.
Good. What about power to the people? Yes. Renationalising the public transport and NHS. No more foreign wars?
We shouldn't have any wars altogether.
Right, fair enough. What about stopping immigration?
Yes.
You want to stop it, right, and putting our people to the front of the housing queue. Do you think that's important? Would it surprise you to know that those are British National Party policies? And this is our candidate here, Dave.
Hello, love.
So there you go.
I'm standing in the election next Thursday, giving people a choice.
I agree with a lot of what UKIP say, I must admit.
Well, the problem with UKIP, they've achieved their goal of wanting the British people to have a referendum. It's time to let us take centre stage now.
Yeah.
I mean, we
The real nationalist.
Our party's called Liberty GB, and we've got a fantastic young candidate called Jack Buckby.
So let's try and get the UKIP Tory vote if we can.
We're going to a nice leafy area.
Yeah.
Have you made your mind up? You don't have to tell me. Have you made your mind up who you're voting for yet?
Conservative, no.
No UKIP?
No UKIP.
Just Labour and a few smaller parties.
Well,
like
a few nutters, I think.
Oh, we're not nutters. We've got some very sensible policies about stopping immigration and tackling the grooming gangs in the Yorkshire area.
I'm wanting to stand in the Batley and Spen by-election on behalf of the English Democrats. Oh, thank you. It's good to see you. You know, without being told that I'm racist because I want to be English. And I think that's a big issue as well. So Brexit and an English identity. So, but what's your little girl's name?
Evie.
Evie.
Yeah.
Well, that's a fantastic name. And of course, look up in the Bible, Genesis, Evie. The first woman and David. David, yes, yeah. Well, I used to teach religious education up the road, so I'm really into stuff like that, names. I think names are important. So.
Are you EDL?
Oh, no. Oh, can you please let people know on the grapevine we're not the EDL? Sorry.
It's just how it looks then.
Yeah, no, well, that's the problem, isn't it? Unfortunately, when you've got the Cross of St George, people automatically assume it's something bad, you know.
I felt very angry when these all dropped through my door and I read them. There isn't room here now for re-stirring the hatred.
I think some of the people that are standing are quite divisive. I think they will have a negative effect on the community. God forbid, I hope it never happens. I don't think it'd happen. But if there's a poor turnout, a really poor turnout, it could let in one of the right-wing parties. Or if there was a poor turnout and they got a high vote, it adds weight to their political beliefs.
I used to vote for Labour, but that stopped, it must be 20 years since that stopped. And I don't vote for Labour anymore, I don't vote for anybody anymore.
This country's
Why? Because of immigrants.
Because of immigrants that's coming in. Of course it is. How can it... What jobs is it for English people?
I used to vote for Labour.
And why did you stop?
Because of that Jeremy Corbyn. He's a load of crap. Absolute crap.
Thank you very much.
I have to say, this is the worst and saddest circumstances one would ever want for a by-election. Nobody ever wanted this by-election. The tragedy of the loss of Jo is something that's going to live with us for the rest of our lives. And in her memory, we're going to win. In her memory, we're going to fight for our National Health Service. In her memory, we're going to fight for good, strong communities all over the country. Thank you very much for inviting me here today.
Hiya, darling. Tracy Brabin. I'm the Labour candidate, but there are 9 other fringe parties who, it feels to me, that's not who we are. But what we saw as a tragedy, actually, these far-right and other parties have decided it's an opportunity for them to get their division and hatred out there.
Tracy would do a fantastic job for everybody in the whole
Are you
community,
at
I think.
Bellsworth?
I am.
Oh,
I bet you've been
watching
watching Sky.
Can I give you that back, please? Yeah.
Because
do you have any particular objection to what we're proposing here?
well, I don't believe that you should be putting up anyway, because Conservatives aren't, Liberals aren't, UKIP aren't, and I don't think you should do. Out of respect for Jo Cox.
Sure, but what about
and I wasn't a Labour supporter, and I'm not. But I just think that.
Can I put it to you that our party, which is strongly opposed to immigration, would halt immigration completely, would deport all illegal immigrants and foreign criminals? Would those policies not appeal to you?
Oh yeah, but you won't get in.
But I don't understand it. You're concerned about immigration. You know that Labour are promoting immigration.
Well, just out of respect.
Out of respect for Jo Cox, and he's just told us that he doesn't respect any of her policies. That's the mindset that's just... Oh.
I worked for Jo in her office. So as Jo's office is closing, so ends my job. Once the spotlight's off and the election's over, all of the things that have been whipped up, all of the untruths that have been told, all of the problems that will have been compounded and fresh problems caused, we've got to live with that, and it's not a very pleasant prospect.
Look at that. It's perfectly placed, that isn't it?
We're above the Labour Party.
Ain't we always?
It's such an awful irony that in the by-election to find somebody to replace her, if that is even possible, that we end up being inundated with the hatred that caused this by-election. And there's a terrible irony in that, I think.
So as you've seen there, not your usual election campaign, one of the few times that political parties, the main political parties, are absent from an election campaign, perhaps the first time since 2008, where David Davis, now the Brexit Secretary, stood unopposed. And there is a sense in Batley that has changed the tone of the campaign there, a sense also among the electorate that perhaps now with this election some of those tensions can at last be resolved. There are 10 candidates standing in the Batley and Spen by-election. You can see a list of all of them on the screen now.
Thanks very much, Kieran.
I've been getting away with it all